This person is one of the first ufologists in the Soviet Union, and his name is Felix Yuryevich Ziegel, born on November 20th, 1920. He was a Soviet astronomer, mathematician, and ufologist. He was a professor at the Moscow Aviation Institute, the institute where he taught astronomy and space technologies. He is known as one of the first scientific ufologists in the Soviet Union to seriously begin studying UFOs. At the time, as you may know, speaking publicly about such topics as extraterrestrials and unidentified flying objects was forbidden in the Soviet Union. Felix Ziegel's work had a significant influence on UFO studies in the Soviet Union. His ideas and theories are still discussed today. Felix Ziegel was one of the first scientists to publish a catalog of UFO observations in the Soviet Union, which almost led to his arrest by the KGB. He was known to be a rather stubborn individual, and because of this, he often encountered problems. In this video, I will introduce you to classified information stored in the KGB archives, which, as my subscribers know, came into my family's possession years ago. I've already made a video about this on my channel. On January 20th, 1973, Felix Ziegel was visited at home by the KGB, who demanded that he accompany them. Felix refused, leading to his arrest. He was taken to a temporary detention facility. The next day, a KGB officer named Maxim Reznikov came to him and told him they needed to travel together to the city of Tolyatti. According to Ziegel's account, he initially thought they were simply sending him to Tolyatti, far from Moscow, where he would face trial and imprisonment. Nothing was explained to Ziegel. He was taken to the airport and flown to Tolyatti. Felix was accompanied by 5 people, presumably from the KGB. Upon arriving in Tolyatti, he and his escorts went to Military Unit 6622. When Ziegel asked where they were taking him, no one answered. They entered one of the buildings on the base, went up to the 2nd floor, and entered a large, spacious hall that resembled a concert venue. It appeared to be a place where military personnel could enjoy mini-concerts and similar events. Ziegel was told to sit on a chair. All 5 escorts left the hall and locked the door from the outside. Ziegel had a premonition that he hadn't simply been arrested, but that something else was happening. As he later wrote, he felt it was related to his work. An hour later, the door opened and a meal was brought to Ziegel. When he asked how long he would have to wait, no one answered. About 3 hours later, the door opened again, and a man entered with 2 others accompanying him. This man was Yevgeny Nikolaevich Sarakovsky, the chairman of the city executive committee. He told Ziegel that they needed to fly to the Zhiguli Nature Reserve, where he would be shown something and everything would be explained on site. Now things get interesting. This area, as well as Samarskaya Luka, known as a nature reserve, has always been associated with paranormal activity. In short, they boarded a helicopter and flew to the reserve. From the air, several fire sites were visible. After the helicopter landed, they found a car waiting for them, which took them toward one of the fires, which was nearly extinguished. However, the pine trees were entirely burned and smoke was still rising from them. Nearby were 2 fire trucks, but no firefighters were in sight. 5 minutes later, 2 more vehicles arrived, and several people in military uniforms got out, including their leader, named Ruslan, about whom I have no further information. Ruslan approached Felix Ziegel and Sarakovsky. Ruslan told Felix that he was very familiar with his work and knew almost everything about him, although Felix had no idea who this man was. Ziegel asked what they wanted from him. Ruslan explained that fires were appearing in this area. They would extinguish them, only for new fires to emerge. Felix joked that he was not a firefighter and could not help them. Ruslan then said that one of Felix's papers described a similar phenomenon, which is why he had been brought to the reserve. In 1965, similar fires had appeared in Astrakhan, and Felix had been near that area, close to the Caspian Sea. Ruslan insisted that Felix explain in detail what he had seen in Astrakhan. Felix immediately understood what was happening, though if you ask me, he had likely realized the nature of the situation the moment he saw the fires from the helicopter. Ruslan demanded an explanation about the flying objects Felix had described in one of his papers. Things get even more intriguing. Felix began recounting how, when he was notified of the phenomenon, he traveled to Astrakhan to investigate. He noted that the fires appeared in a circular pattern, not chaotically. He was accompanied by 3 fellow enthusiasts. To keep it brief, Felix explained that they saw a strange elongated object flying over the area. The object was about 7 or 8 meters long and around 3 meters wide. Felix stated that he had never seen anything like it before. He also mentioned that he had a photograph of the object in his Moscow apartment. Ruslan asked Felix to accompany them deeper into the forest. When Ziegel asked where they were going, Ruslan replied that he wanted to show him something. When they arrived at the location, they saw scattered, damaged, and unusual pieces of what appeared to be a flying object. Now, on your screen, you can see photos of these fragments. As they approached the debris, Felix began examining the strange, damaged parts. He remarked that such technology was not available in the Soviet Union and was almost certainly not the technology of any other state. Ruslan questioned Felix Ziegel further. Felix asked how this object had crashed. He was told that it had been shot down by a jet. Additionally, lights were frequently seen over the city of Samara at night, prompting locals to call the police. Felix stayed at the site until evening, studying the area and the scattered fragments. In his writings, Felix Ziegel often spoke about parallel worlds, dimensions, and so on. He theorized that these unidentified flying objects entered our world through portals which opened during specific times of the year in particular places, triggering such phenomena. However, he was baffled as to why these objects caused fires. Felix also often mentioned that some parallel worlds were far more advanced but inhabited by beings similar to humans. Now let's return to the main topic. Felix and his escorts returned to the base and re-entered the hall. Sarakovsky told Felix there was something else they wanted to show him. Behind the stage was a room. 2 men entered the room and brought out a wing-like part with some kind of device mounted on it, which appeared to be highly advanced. Felix was asked to examine it. The photo you now see on your screen is precisely that photograph. Felix began inspecting the part. He remarked that he had never seen anything like it and reiterated that it was not Soviet or foreign technology. He again spoke about portals. An hour later, Yevgeny Sarakovsky called for Felix and told him it was time to leave. Felix Ziegel was taken to the airport and flown back to Moscow, specifically to Vnukovo Airport. There, a car was waiting for him along with KGB officers. Felix was placed in one vehicle while his escorts got into another. Felix was taken to his home, where he was ordered to hand over all the files related to the mysterious events in Astrakhan. Initially, Felix refused, but he was made to understand that things would end badly for him if he did not comply. Felix handed everything over to the KGB. He was also forced to sign documents in his own home, stating that he could never speak about these topics. Now, you see my post, which I uploaded about 2 months ago, even before the fires in Los Angeles and the drones in New Jersey. You can verify the date of this post on my YouTube channel. This drone was discovered in Kazakhstan, specifically in the Solnechny district, where there were also mysterious forest fires during which this drone was found. This is the only photo I saw in the Soviet archives. Here's what I want to say. Such mysterious fires, unidentified drones, and so on have always appeared on our planet. What we're witnessing now around the world is certainly nothing new. For now, until the next episode, goodbye.